McCarthy Insurance Group, serving the community for over 70 years. For home, farm, motor, life, health and business insurance, log on to mig.ie or free phone 1800 50 11 11. Probably your best call in 2024. Charles McCarthy Insurance is trading as McCarthy Insurance Group, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Ireland's Classic Hits Radio. It is the home of the 80s and 90s, and delighted to have Ali Campbell here from UB40. Ali, how are you?
Hi Trina, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. I hope I'm keeping you in hot dinners by the amount of UB40 I'm playing here on the radio show all the time.
Well, that's good to hear actually. But I mean, you know, we did have 40 top 20 hits back in the 80s and 90s. You know.
We've got a bit of choice, don't we? We do have a bit of choice when it comes to the big hits to play.
Yeah, well, I'm actually working on an anthology at the moment where I'm hoping to put sort of 50-odd tracks together that I'm particularly proud of, you know, and that I produce and stuff. And they're not the hits necessarily. They're, you know what I mean? We made 35 albums I've made.
God.
So
is it that many, Ali?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
How? That must have been an album a year, was it?
Well, kind of, yeah. It was when we were up and running, you know, the original lineup and everything. We made an album per year, yeah. I made 24 albums with the original lineup. And, 35 now and counting.
So how was there time then between, you know, writing the songs, recording, going on tour, going on Top of the Pops, talking to the press? I mean, how was there any time to make these albums and to also have a bit of a life?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, I did 5 or 6 kids. I got 8 kids.
I know. And, so clearly you had a life.
I do. I think that's all I did, make records and make children. Yeah.
8 children. That's a lot of kids. What kind of ages are they ranging from?
Oh, I mean, they're all adults.
They're
now,
grown up,
you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're still touring. The beginning of this year, we started in January in the Hawaiian Islands. And then went into Australia and New Zealand and Vanuatu and Fiji and India and Uganda and Santiago in Chile. And so we went to, we've been to like 72 countries in the last 5 years, you know.
There's probably places you've never even heard of, and yet you're selling records there and selling out venues. It's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it?
That's the beauty of you know, the internet and all that. You know, we rocked up in Vanuatu in the South Pacific, which I'd never heard of, I've got to say. And we played to 15,000 lovely fans, you know, and had a great time there. It's amazing, really.
The longevity is something else, though. I mean, you know, whatever about... There's a lot of bands, I guess, who were around back then, and they might be trying to do a few gigs now, and they'll be very, very small venues that they're doing. But no, not yourself. You're doing the RDS in Dublin.
Well, you know, the secret is because we chose reggae, you know, reggae music as our music genre. And people all over the world love reggae, you know, and it's a unified music that brings everyone together. And I think that was the masterstroke was choosing reggae as our music.
Yeah, was that your kind of taste, or how did you get into that?
Oh, I grew up on reggae, listening to Rocksteady, you know, and songs like Red Red Wine by Tony Tribe, you know, and Please Don't Make Me Cry by Winston Groovy, and you know, we were horrified by the ska revival.
Were you? So was I.
Yeah, the first time I saw the Coventry Automatics at the College of Food and Domestic Arts in Birmingham, they later became the Specials. The first time I saw them, we just couldn't understand, you know, why this sort of punky band had Linville playing a ska rhythm in the middle of it. And then, you know, I was working at Cadbury's making Easter eggs at the time. And on the radio, it was Madness and Selector and all that stuff. And we were thinking, but this is all, you know, this is ska that happened 15 years ago. You know, why are they all playing that? You know, so we were always lovers of reggae. I grew up in a multiracial area of Birmingham, you know, and reggae was the music we listened to in the cafes and all. You know, I also listened to Indian music, but you know, that was a bit harder to understand. Yeah. But you know, I grew up listening to Asha Bhosle and Lotta Malkesh and Mohammed Rafi and all that. So yeah, it was Indian music and Jamaican music that I grew up listening to.
Yeah, there's no mistaking that Birmingham accent. Sure, it's not either.
Oh no, I can't shake that off.
You
I've
cannot
tried.
shake it. There's not a hope. It's like when Irish people go over to Birmingham. There's probably loads of Irish in Birmingham, isn't there, as well?
There are, yeah.
There's no getting rid of the accent. We've relatives over there and they were home recently and you'd never know they lived in Birmingham their whole life. They've lived in Birmingham longer than they ever lived in Ireland and they still have the Irish accent. But
yeah, quite right.
Speaking of red wine, I mean, your version of red wine I'm not joking when I say this, it just brings me back to one of the best summers ever. Now I would have been, what year did that come out? I would have been maybe about 9.
83.
Was it 83? Okay. No.
Yeah, well, it had two lives.
It had two releases, didn't it? Yes.
In England and around the world, it got to number one in 1983. And then 5 years later in America, it went to number one, so...
Yeah.
I think that's why it's the song that everyone remembers, because it had an 8-year span.
I'm telling a lie, it was Kingston Town, 1990 I'm thinking of. I've mentioned this on the air many times before about a lovely neighbour of mine who lived across the way and she was a gorgeous singer and she had 8 children as well, actually. She used to sing that all the time. She'd be rocking the kids on her knee. It just brings me back to that moment and I was just a kid playing on the road, but it's just incredible memories. There's so many people as well that you worked with over the years that must have really stood out for you.
Yeah, well, especially reggae artists, I mean, I got myself in a position where I had a studio in Jamaica, and then I brought the studio to my house in the Rockabessa. And really, all my heroes, came through that house and recorded there. And, it was like heaven for me, having John Holt and Ken Booth, and all these fantastic artists in my home,
Were you nervous wreck now, Ali, or were you okay?
Oh, I was totally chilled and down with it all, I was just really happy. I was just really happy to be chilling out with Toots and the Maytals and, and John Holt especially, I love that guy. Robbie Shakespeare, of course.
Because when it came to going on stage, you did suffer a bit of stage fright at the start, didn't you? But you kind of overcame it.
Yeah, well, when I first started, if you look at the early videos and film of me, I look like I've got cross eyes. Because I just looked at the microphone, I couldn't look at the audience. So my eyes are always crossed and I look like I've got cross eyes. So I was very nervous, but I had, the rest of the band was around me and sort of gave me confidence to do it, And
you must soak up then the atmosphere from the crowd and the feedback and they're enjoying it, so you start enjoying it as well.
Well... You see, we sort of shirt-tailed the two-tone movement. So we played a lot of gigs at the Electric Ballroom with Madness and people like that. And actually, we were drenched in phlegm, the skinheads at the time, because we were too slow and we weren't playing ska. We were playing reggae. They'd seek heil us and spit at us. So. I used to have danglers coming off my chin, and it wasn't the most pleasant of experiences.
I actually never thought I'd be even saying the word phlegm in a radio interview, but here we are. What a horrible word that is.
Two-tone phlegm from the skinheads.
Oh, lovely image. Thanks for that. If anyone's having their lunch right now, enjoy. What was Chrissie Hynde like? Because he was
absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she was... Auntie Chrissie, we'd only played a dozen shows around. We were just getting into the London circuit of Dingwalls and the Rock Garden and that, and we literally only played a dozen shows. And she came and saw us. She was number one at the time with Brass in Pocket with the Pretenders. And she was launching this tour, a 35-date tour, and she invited us to be on it. And we went on that 35 dates, which is the most dates we'd ever done. And we released our first single that went to number 4. And then we booked the same tour after that, exactly the same tour again. And then we were up and running, So we owe it all to Chrissie Hynde, really.
Wow. I always think that she'd be quite moody now in person because she's quite serious on stage, but maybe she's not. You were saying she's lovely.
She's an absolute darling, she's a delightful lady. And, she can be a bit, she'll have a go at you, she doesn't stand any nonsense.
Doesn't suffer fools, yes.
she was absolutely lovely and still is, you know.
Mm-mm. Another song that really stands out for me is I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. I actually included it in my wedding. It's just fab, isn't it?
Well, again, that was we were asked to do that for an Elvis Presley movie that they were making, and they refused our version, and they used Bono. Did a version, and his went on
the album, didn't it?
Yeah, and then a year later, they were making the film Sliver with Sharon Stone, and they chose our version of Can't Help Falling in Love, and it went to number one all over the world, and
nobody remembers the other one at all.
Nobody remembers Bono's version. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Now, I know you left the original lineup many. It's a good few years back now, and there was all sorts of reasons for that, and there was kind of almost two versions of UB40s going around. We've heard now from Netflix. There's a lot of documentaries now. We're kind of getting the behind the scenes of what goes on in the music industry. We're getting a lot of that now. There's that Dirty Pop one. I don't know if you saw that about the Backstreet Boys and all these NSYNC various bands of what was going on in the background and how they felt like they weren't seeing the money that was being made. Would you be tempted to ever make a Netflix documentary or anything like that?
Well, because there's two sides, you see. You have to get permission from it. I have to get permission from, that side, and they have to get permission from me. So we did actually make a movie called Blood and Fire, or Promises and Lies, I think it was called, yeah. And it didn't really say anything because nobody would give permission.
And you can't without the other person giving you permission, can you not?
No, that's right.
I'm just thinking about the Backstreet Boys one, so that was called Dirty Pop. Maybe the reason they were able to make that was because the guy actually died. The guy who was...
Well, that would be the reason that they were able to do that, yeah. I've got my truth, and they've got theirs, basically. But I don't think people are that interested in all that. I think people, are interested in the music.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day,
you took the words out of my mouth, Ali. So look, we will see you then when you're coming to the RDS August 30th. It's going to be a busy time in Dublin. I hope you have your hotel booked. Otherwise, I have a spare room if you're stuck.
Well, we did play Dublin quite recently, and we had such a fantastic time. We tried to book 2 nights there, but they didn't have the venue available.
That's right.
So we're back by public demand, I believe, and we can't wait. We love Dublin. We spent a lot of time there. We used to record there, and you'd see us in Leeson Street a lot of time, and back in the day.
Yeah, it's not a bad complaint now to be back due to demand. Sure, it's not a bad complaint at all.
No, well, the gigs this year have all been fantastic, and the crowds have grown. I don't know why. I don't know why in particular, but we seem to be having a bit of a renaissance, Maybe
I'm going to take credit. No, Ali, I'm taking credit. It's because I'm playing the music all the time on the radio show.
Oh, well, we absolutely owe it to you then. Well done. Thank you, Trina.
You can send the cheque in the post. Lovely, Ali. Thank you so much. We will see you in town really, really soon. I hope you have a great time when you're here.
I'm sure we will. Big love to everybody in Dublin.
Ali Campbell, guys, from UB40. It's Ireland's Classic Hits Radio.